thank you so much for joining us for Industry Insights. These are virtual presentations over lunchtime. People come online and learn about the overlap between faith and work, ministry work, personal experience, and any sort of connections with the design world. So my name is Stephanie Chat. I am the communications coordinator here at EMI Canada, located in Calgary. And I will throw my email address in case you haven't received it enough times. I will put it in the chat box after as well. So today we are super excited to have Simon joining us. Before we begin, I'm just going to go ahead and share a little bit about Simon before he starts his presentation. So Simon Tam is a professional civil engineer living in Calgary, Alberta. Professionally, he brings over 17 years of experience working in consulting within the land development industry, with expertise in technical design, construction administration, project management, and mentoring developing engineers. Personally, Simon had walked through a series of significant life changes in the last couple of years, including an ending of his 15-year marriage, which did bless him with two God-loving children, Philippa, who's 12, and Declan, who's 9, whom he now co-parents. And along with this came an unexpected departure from his company in early March as a senior PM. So in this season of surrender, Simon humbly heard God calling him to redirect his technical skills and experiences towards something more meaningful. In a powerful confirmation of that calling, as Simon was sharing with his kids how he was considering serving on a short-term missions trip during this time of life's uncertainties, Philippa, his daughter, actually revealed that she had also heard the same voice from God just the night before. So that she heard the voice saying that her dad should go on a missions trip. So Simon is grateful for the awestruck opportunity to serve in the missions field alongside the other engineers serving with EMI and architects from 100 Fold Studio, and to be able to lead his fellow team members in worship through music, giving praises to God even in the midst of life's humbling and refining moments. So thank you so much, Simon. During the presentation, everyone, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and I'll make sure that we get to those after. And before we start, I would just love to say a little prayer for us. So, God, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you so much for Simon and for the experiences that you have given him that have led him here to be sharing his expertise and his experiences with us here during this session. And we just pray for your words to speak through him and for us to be inspired today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Simon. I'll leave it to you now.
Sounds good. Um, I just started the slide with probably the same image that everyone has seen, so I'll just move on from there. Firstly, who am I? I am a civil engineer. I am based in Calgary, Alberta, with Stephanie, not that we've ever met. And that intro that she gave was a lot longer than it looked on paper when I wrote it. So hopefully you didn't lose interest when she was presenting that. But as she had mentioned, I work in land development. So at the bottom of the image here, that's one of my former projects that I worked on. Storm Pond. I think this was like a 25 or 30 lot residential subdivision in a rural area just south of Calgary in Foothills County. And that's kind of my bread and butter. I've been working on residential subdivisions, commercial building applications throughout my 17 years of experience as a professional engineer. I do have my PEng. I graduated from University of Saskatchewan in 2009 in civil engineering with a minor in transportation. And I worked for a few summer jobs before then too. So I'd like to say 17 plus years just to make it easy. Um, I am a single parent. I co-parent these two lovely kids at the top there, Declan 9 and Philippa who's 12. That was a picture that we took when we went down to Utah last March 2025. Did a full whole like 15-day road trip and went camping the entire time. Let's just say I was very happy to see a shower after those 15 days while camping. But we had such an amazing time and I love hanging out with them. Um, Dad bod is yeah, kind of where I'm aiming. I'm into my 40s now, so it's I definitely have seen better days, fitness days. But I can clean myself up too with the picture in the top right. A little more professional looking there. First question, how did I find out about EMI? I was actually meeting up with a surveyor friend of mine over Christmas. He and I met each other at our home church here in Calgary. We've known each other for probably about 5 years now, but he is a contract surveyor, and I came to find out that he contracts surveys for pretty much every company I've ever worked at. So we both had a lot of mutual connections. So we were meeting up over Christmas, and the natural conversation goes, "Where are you going on vacation next?" And I made a comment that I really don't like going to all-inclusive resorts because it feels like you're behind prison walls. You can take that however you wish, but the image in the background here, that's AI generated, so don't take it for gospel. But it's one of those like on one side of the wall, there's poverty. On the other side, there is wealth. But at the end of the day, it's still a prison wall, and I really dislike that. And I don't like going on vacation where I'm splurging on myself and not making a difference in the world. So my friend Gary, the surveyor, he said it doesn't have to be. And he gave me a brief intro about EMI. He actually served with EMI in 2017 in Nicaragua. And he's mentioned the project to me at least 8 times. I can't remember any one of them. So I just know it was a project in Nicaragua. So he said, as a professional, there's these amazing opportunities that we can use to be able to serve emissions. And most of the time, I mean, there are EMI projects in kind of more third world countries, but he said there's plenty of projects where I can be on the other side of that wall and be able to make an impact in the world. So um, I said that sounds like a great thing that EMI is doing, especially being able to marry both your faith and your professional expertise. But I said, I am selfish. I don't have time. I have my limited 4 weeks of holidays a year or 4 weeks vacation a year that I want to spend with my kids because I'm single dad and, the odd times I want to go camping. So when would I ever have the time to go serve on a mission trip? And I basically said, I'm never going to be able to serve with EMI, at least not till the kids move out or I retire. And I am many decades away from retirement, so it would be a while. So, why did I go on this mission trip? What led me to it? It was a journey of surrender. Um, my title of my presentation is When God Says to Let It Go, a journey of surrender, calling, trust, and provision. So, I'll speak to surrender first. In the last calendar year, my 15-year marriage ended, which was a huge shock and sort of unexpected. And I was kind of trying to rediscover who I was. At the same time, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which when I look back at it, I would say I probably had ADHD since I was a little kid. Um, and had I been diagnosed 20 plus years earlier, I think things would have changed. Marriage would have been different. Life as a dad might have been different. And then to top it all off, so just to give a time frame, the marriage, like final legal divorce papers, that all happened in October last year. I got diagnosed with ADHD in December, and then March, I was suddenly faced with a layoff. I lost my job. And that was one of the only stable things that I had of kind of all the things that happened in that 6 month period. And I was just like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to surrender because I'm trying to take control of marriage, trying to take control of my health, trying to take control of my finances with job loss, and I can't. So it was a unexpected surrender. And yeah, I was thinking, okay, now what? Do I stay in my consulting world? Do I completely change, go back to school, do something else? I don't know. Um, then there was a journey of calling. I was speaking with a fellow friend of mine who said to me, "Have you ever considered missions?" Um, and I was like, "I haven't, but." recalling back to, so this all happened in March when I lost when I was laid off. I was telling my friend Ryan that I recall this conversation with Gary, the surveyor, over Christmas, and he told me about this group called EMI. I'm going to look into it. So I was praying about it. I was really seeing if this is something I could pursue. Partly, I had no more finances. So I know if I were to sign up on any trip, I'd have to fundraise. And if I'm short, I'm going to be dipping into whatever little savings that I had. I had a severance, but I mean, that was, it dwindled out rather quickly. Um, so I was just asking God, show me a sign, something that says if I should go on this mission trip, because it's going to be financially um, challenging. And I mean, I have the time, but I then have to speak with the kids' mom to make sure that we can coordinate childcare and all that. And this little girl of mine, Philippa, 12 years old, kids say the darndest things. I think some of you guys know it, at least from Bill Crosby's time in the late 90s. Um, my daughter says, well, when I shared with my kids, Daddy is considering going on a mission trip. My daughter says to me the night before when we were having our nighttime prayer, she heard a voice, some random voice telling her, you should ask your dad to go serve on a missions trip. And when she told me this, I just completely broke down in tears because I was like, okay, well, God's making this sign very clear for me because I asked for a clear sign, and how much clearer can it be? So I said yes. And I love my daughter. She's my little daddy's girl. Um, so I've already committed to going on the missions now, but it then turned into a journey of trust. I was trying to meet with just my community of support, and one of my friends said, "Do not apply for a job." And I was like, "Say what now? I'm without a job. I have no income. I'm going to probably be spending a few $1,000s on a missions trip because I probably won't be able to finance it, fundraise fully in a short duration." And he made a comment saying, do not apply for a job because if I go on this trip, where's my heart going to be? Is my heart going to be waiting on hearing back from somebody? Is it going to be trying to set up interviews? Is it going to be trying to update a resume? Because obviously I wasn't ready for updating a resume. And um, I got a confirmation from God continuously from that point onwards to um, say, okay, I'll trust you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in all your ways, submit to Him. Um, it's easier said than done. It's one of those Bible verses that everyone grows up with in Sunday school, but I didn't know how. And I posted a post on LinkedIn. That's actually the screenshot of that post right there. Um, 6,000 impressions. I don't even have 6,000 contacts. I don't even have 1,000 contacts. And I have 113 likes from people I didn't even know. And well, I basically posted saying something along the lines of I've been laid off from my previous company. I'm thankful for all the clients, colleagues, the typical kind of professional thing to say. And then I just added a note in the very bottom. I just said, as I step into this season, I'm going to be participating in an international service trip, mission trip, where I can apply my engineering skills. Um, my thought when I posted this was purely out of guilt and shame. It was, I've been laid off. I don't know what to do with myself. I recently divorced. I'm don't know how to handle life right now. So I'm gonna just go on a limb and surrender to God and have Him lead me on a mission trip. And for the first 4 hours after I posted that, um, I was getting text messages. I was getting messages on um, um, LinkedIn. I was getting messages even through Facebook because they saw my LinkedIn post. I was getting messages everywhere. And I was thinking, okay, well, people are going to ask me, what happened? Why did you get let go? Did you do something stupid? No, people were saying things along the lines of, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. I was like, people are congratulating me for getting fired. That's kind of an odd thing to say. And then I started receiving messages saying, "Hey, tell me more about what a missions trip is. Tell me what this is. Tell me what you're doing with this EMI or, well, this missions trip." I didn't even talk about EMI yet at that time. And it just completely blew me away. And 6,000 impressions later, and a whole bunch of even randoms that were messaging me, random people. It sounds bad when I say randoms. Random people messaging me, asking me about this. I was like, wow, this was totally a journey of trust. So I guess I'm going to trust God on the whole job search. So I talked about surrender, calling, and trust. I'm going to leave provision for afterwards. So I've committed to going on this mission trip. The trip was to Dominican Republic in a place called Young Life Pico Escondido. It's basically a youth camp for youth to hear about God in the island of of DR. And when we were meeting there with the folks, like when they were giving us the intro, they were saying that the Dominican Republic is predominantly Catholic, and there's not a lot of Protestant churches, not a lot of people even hearing about the message of Christ and the hope that he offers. Not to say Catholicism doesn't offer that, but it's not in the same way that Young Life as a camp presents the good news. So it was a very eye-opening thing, and they had very intentional design practices to allow for those conversations. I'll get into that in a bit. EMI, I don't know many people who are on the call, but is predominantly engineers serving, but I understand that there's also architects and landscape architects who also support as well, and surveyors. Can't forget them, considering one of them told me about EMI. But in this specific situation, it was with a group of architects called 100-Fold Studio. They're based out of Montana, and they're a not-for-profit, faith-based architectural organization where they provide architectural services to faith-based facilities throughout the world. So very much similar to EMI, but they're like 100-Fold Studio is only the architectural firm. They don't necessarily bring in other engineers. So they will partner with folks like those at EMI to deliver a package. So on the EMI side, this is my team. Wyatt, electrical engineer. Tom, he was the head honcho. He was our fearless leader, and he is actually an EMI at the time Latin America staff. He's now relocated to Denver, Colorado. So he is EMI America, I guess, staff. Myself, civil. Jacob, who is also a civil, but he is actually a staff member at EMI Mexico. So it was good to have another civil guy on board. Emily, mechanical engineer. And then lastly, Dale, also mechanical engineer, doing HVAC designs. From 100-Fold Studio, John, he was the lead architect and the owner, I guess, of 100-Fold Studio. That's him kind of in the upper middle corner or middle view there, as well as the bottom left. Where he's standing in the bottom left view, that's actually the project site. So you can see four guys that are at the bottom to where John's standing, and then I'm probably another meter or two higher than him. And that's where our building was situated. It was up on the side of this like 15, 20 meter really steep side slope hill. Sean was the architectural technologist. He is an amazing CAD modeler. Like he was doing things on the fly, even as we were meeting with staff at Young Life. He was just doing things faster than I've ever seen even AI work. So it's amazing. Like he is just a blessed man who is very efficient. And then Grayson, on the far right there, he is with 100-Fold, but he was actually commissioned as the media slash videographer. So there's a photo of him in the top right. He was actually documenting our entire trip. And my understanding is 100-Fold Studio is actually documenting this entire project, and they're going to be posting 10-minute YouTube, 10-minute-ish YouTube videos of the entire project, from everything from prelim design through to construction, however many years from now. So it's really cool that 100 Full Studio has that intention to I guess um, summarize all of these things in a video format. So it was really amazing to kind of work with their team as well. So where is Young Life Pico Escondido Camp? It is in Dominican Republic, which is part of the, pardon my Spanish because I cannot speak Spanish, Hispaniola Island, in the Caribbean on the north end. It shares the island with Haiti. DR takes about two-thirds of the island, and then Haiti takes the last third. And within the DR side, the Young Life Camp is more or less right smack in the middle. Very hilly area where I think like probably 5 kilometers from the peak of the mountain. So we're 5 kilometers horizontally. So like we're basically at the very top end of the island. And the whole thing obviously kind of goes down to the perimeter. So DR is a relatively developed country, especially in some of their resort areas like Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, and Puerto Plata at the very north end. Um, so from Puerto Plata, I think I measured it in Google. It's only like 75 kilometers. Santo Domingo is about 100 kilometers to the south. Punta Cana is about 150. So it's a relatively small island, but because you're traversing huge, steep terrains, I think our bus going into the Young Life camp, it was about an hour just to get up into the hills. So it might not seem like a large horizontal distance, but just the hilly infrastructure in there is challenging to navigate. And boy, can their taxi drivers drive. They're really good drivers. So the camp, I show up. This is my first mission trip ever. I've never gone on a mission trip. I found out I'm the only missions version on the group in the group because everyone else had gone on at least one trip. Some as many, well, obviously the EMI staff have gone on numerous, but others that were not. Dale, one of the mechanical engineers, he went on 4 trips to Uganda. So with EMI. So I learned so much from everybody, everything from missions and whatnot, but I also heard the stories. I heard about the challenging infrastructure that they had. We show up at Pico Escondido and I'm greeted with like luxury. I was not expecting any of this. So the building right smack in the middle of the picture there, that is the food hall. And that was actually designed by 100-Fold Studio some 10 years ago. It was built 7 years ago. So in that 3-year time, they fundraised, they constructed and built this amazing facility. And it just kind of shows why 100-Fold is still involved with this camp, but also shows their capability and I guess breadth of work that they can do for those around. The pool in the very bottom right there, that was very warm water, so many of us jumped in after hours. It was just comfortable. It was nice when it's 35 degrees Celsius and 100% humidity every day. It was much needed. But yeah, like the entire place is just really a resort, which was a huge, I guess I was not expecting that. I was expecting to be kind of roughing it, if you will, but this was not roughing it. Like when I go camping with the kids, it's nowhere near to this quality of, I guess, level of enjoyment. So a typical day for us, we would start every morning at 7 a.m. on the balcony porch of our dorm rooms, 7 a.m. Eastern time, which means I have to get up at 6:30 Eastern time or earlier. I'm from Calgary in Mountain Standard Time, so I was waking up at 4:30 every single morning, and it took me the entire week that we were there to finally get my body adjusted, which by that time was too late. But we would start every morning, 7 a.m., with devotions, and each of us would take turns leading a devotion. And right after that, we would go down the steps on the right picture there. 104 steps was the last count. I don't know if any of us were able to verify because we lost count after about 20 and losing breath. But we would walk down those 104 steps to eat breakfast. and every meal was provided by Young Life, and they were massive. The pictures down at the bottom don't do it justice. The one with the cabbage on there, that was a 14-inch plate, and it was mounded, like toppled up with probably a good 5 inches of food. I surprisingly finished all but one meal, but I would say 90% of our team couldn't finish even one meal. Um, Hence why I have that dad bod. But food was amazing. They fed us very well and took care of us. After a very heavy meal, we'd have to walk up the 104 steps back upstairs to the top to office space where we're able to meet with shareholders or the stakeholders, sorry, not shareholders, stakeholders, to be able to discuss the needs of the camp and everybody get together to kind of talk about our day, what the plan is, things like that. Um, that goes on for really a 8 to 9 hour day, not including meals in between. And then in the evening, we would come back to the same patio space that this picture was taken at 7 in the morning, but we would come back to the same space and we would then share our testimonies with each other. And boy, were the testimonies just heartfelt. Like everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has similar, maybe not similar, but has their own story that is, I guess, equivalent to mine, where we all were led in many different journeys. And I was so excited to hear every single night someone else's testimony because it was just, we were all like sitting on the edge of our seats and just, pulling out popcorn and kind of like really into it. Um, I play guitar at my local church, so I was blessed with the opportunity to also lead the group in worship songs every single night. And then one or two other guys. Everybody can play guitar, so it seems like everyone wanted to take their turns. And yeah, we were just all able to have a really good time in worship. So that's a typical day, and then we go to bed at like 11 p.m. So to get back up at 6:30 the next morning. I was very tired that entire week. I'll just put it that way. So for the first day or two, we were basically doing a site walkthrough. A lot of the photos here are kind of civil based because my expertise is civil. So I do a lot of grading, I do a lot of servicing. Everybody loves to see sanitary septic pucks being pulled out from a septic tank in that far left picture there. I'm sure. But yeah, we were basically pulling manhole lids, pulling manhole covers. The electrical guy, Wyatt, would be opening up all the transformers. Funny story from Wyatt. He said that when they first looked at all the power poles offsite that were coming from power coming in from the grid, um, he said there were no issues. By about day three that we were there, all the grounding cables on the power poles were all cut and all the copper was taken sometime in the time that we were there. Um, so that was a unique challenge from his end. But yeah, from a civil side, grading, we're talking about like 50, 60 meter sides, vertical um, elevation and at like 1-to-1 side slopes. So there were switchbacks galore, the 104 steps. And these switchbacks, they were nowhere near accessible options. They were in the order of anywhere from 20 to 40% slope. So I had a hard time even climbing up some of these things, let alone somebody in a wheelchair. But that's why we're coming in to be able to offer alternatives to make accessibility better. So that's from the grading elevation perspective, and then from a servicing perspective, everything is raw water that's I guess sediment treated, and then they're stored, pumped up into these storage tanks, so the black tanks on the far right there, and then they just feed by gravity down to wherever it needs to go. So grading and servicing, that's kind of my day-to-day expertise when I was working in consulting. So it's nothing that was really that technically challenging. It might have brought me back into my university books a little bit, but it's stuff that I'm going to encourage everybody going on these trips. Chances are you already know 99% of the work. You probably already do it. I assume many people who serve with the MI already have some sort of technical background. And it's actually not as difficult of a design challenge as I thought it would be. So yeah, first day or two, we were doing site walkthroughs. and also site meetings. So lots of those. And this is again in the um, office space that's back up at the top of the 104 steps. So um, I'm glad we had coffee because it was a challenge getting up there. But yeah, we would do a lot of things. There's Sean in the bottom right there. He was modeling everything in Revit. Um, Jacob is in the middle picture there. He is looking at, I think, septic tank and cistern options, although those kind of look like trees. But he was working with the team to kind of find products that we can use to improve the infrastructure there. Wyatt on the very far left, he was just looking at the preliminary architectural plans to basically plan out where he can get the electrical infrastructure in there. A lot of it for him was solar and battery storage. And then the HVAC guys, they were working with Wyatt to make sure that there's sufficient power supply. So yeah, a lot of design meetings. Then it came to design. So these three sketches were done by me, done by hand, because we didn't have a site plan. If there's any civil folks in the crowd, I was I as a civil guy, I need an architectural site plan to be able to, excuse me, to be able to do a grading and servicing design. So lacking a finalized architectural plan, I did everything by hand. And I'm glad that I was introduced to erasable pens. Um, these guys, they are honestly a amazing invention. And I was able to erase more times than I can count. The top right picture, that's kind of the detailed grading design. For those who aren't ever, I guess, in attuned to what a grading plan looks like. Essentially, those are contour lines and the kind of the faded lines there. The tighter the lines are, the steeper the slope is, and the sparser it is, the flatter the slope. Um, Case in point, the very steep parts, those are what we call 0 to 1 slope. They're basically a straight vertical wall. And then the more sparse ones, they were still in the order of about 20% slope, which is a lot steeper than most things that you'll find around anywhere around a developed area. So it was a very steep hillside, and we're somehow supposed to shove this building on the side. So the cross section on the far left here, bottom left, that kind of shows how I place the building in amongst the existing elevation or existing profile and where I had to put a ton of retaining walls and terracing. And there's a little detail for a retaining wall. Each wall was like 5 meters tall. So I have what, one, two, three, four walls at 5 meters tall. That's already 20 meters vertical. And that's just to bridge the surrounding elevation so that we can fit a building in here. After Oh, I think we were on day five, well, six of us being in DR, but really day five of actual work. We then did a presentation, and this presentation was to the stakeholders of the Young Life Camp, as well as to anybody really interested. So we invited staff members who were working there. We invited contractors who may be interested in doing this construction work, and we brought them in. Everything was presented in Spanish. Thankfully, Jacob, he is in that left picture, he's the gentleman that's standing up on the right with his hand out. And Jacob's also the one at the very far right picture, kind of standing, peering over my shoulders as I'm pointing on the screen. Because he is a staff member with EMI in Mexico, he is 100% fluent in Spanish, and he was our amazing translator. Emily, in that second picture to the right, she also can speak Spanish fluently, so she was able to present her slides in Spanish. But it was her first technical Spanish presentation. She can speak it conversationally, but it was amazing just to see her really step up and combine her knowledge of the language with her technical expertise. And I'm just going to kind of bring in updated PDF. This came in from the architects just last week, so we're still actively working on the design. I went on this trip April 26th to May 2nd. So it's been over a month since I've returned home, but we're still actively working on the design. So this just came in from the architects last week, and this is kind of the latest rendering that Sean was able to do. And uh, it shocks me how quickly they can work on these designs. And further to that, they also sent this really cool rendering video, kind of the same view as that PDF that I was showing, but it's just 3D, fancy. I'm a civil engineer. I draw lines. I draw straight lines. So I don't ever get to do anything like this. So just kind of a few perspectives. It shows the multi-level terracing and then the numerous stairs that we're adding in there. I think at last count, I'm adding another 72 stairs to the 104. So yeah, people will get a workout. And then on our last day that we were in the DR, we were able to explore. So we went on an excursion, and we went to a coffee bean roasting factory, just explored the town. And then on the far right, the Young Life Camp actually has this really cool swing set. You can kind of judge by the height of the gentleman that's standing, the operator that's standing at the base. He's about 6'4", and you can see how high we are up on the swing, kind of pulled back. It's about 5 stories high. And naturally, a swing should follow sort of an arc, but as soon as the cable gets released, it's actually a straight free fall for about 10 feet before it actually arcs. So, I'll just say I changed my underwear a few times going on that. It was fun, but I think going with several guys who are much heavier than me was probably not the best idea because yeah, gravity. So the last journey, I spoke about the journey of surrender, journey of calling, journey of trust, and this is a journey of provision. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And even returning from the mission trip, I did not apply for a job. I didn't actively apply for a job. And through my trust, through my surrender, through my calling, I was blessed with one of my former colleagues that I worked with some 20 years ago, 19 actually. He messaged me and said, "Hey, if you've returned from your mission trip, I spoke with our senior staff. Um, we would be interested to have you come in for an interview." And I was like, I was not looking, I wasn't asking. It was just one of those, I won't say no. And the interview I remember was on like a Friday at 2 p.m. I finished updating my resume at 1:30 p.m., like half an hour before leaving to go to the interview. So it was one of those, I was not ready for it, but um, to on that note, I joined that company, and I'm sitting in that office right now. I've been here for a little over a week and a half, or week and a half, started last Monday, and I'm very thankful for it. And it's just, it's that trust in God to provide, and he came through and beyond ways unimaginable. So I worked at this company 19 years ago, and I already know half the staff. Gary, my surveyor friend who I spoke about earlier, he also contracts out to this company as a surveyor. So there's so many familiar faces. There's actually staff here who I worked with at pre other companies in the past. So I was like, it's like returning home. It's a provision that I was not, it was better than anything I could ever imagine. So, advice for others. Firstly, would I do a mission trip again? The short answer is it's not a matter of if, but when. So, I took a screenshot from EMI's website, and this was, I guess, up to date as of this morning at like 6 in the morning because I have ADHD, I tend to do things very last minute. So I was putting this slideshow together very last minute. And these are all the upcoming trips with EMI. And that's only going to September. That doesn't even cover forthcoming trips. And I would very much encourage those who may be on the fence of serving with EMI, whether your background is technical or not, because, and I see Gil, you joined us too. I don't know if you've been on their website. They actually have a position for videographer, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, to serve with them. So, for those who may or may not know Gil, he is a professional videographer. And yeah, there's so many opportunities to serve with EMI. Obviously, the name kind of implies engineering focus, but I, as a civil engineer, have the opportunity to serve as a civil. But even construction management, there's projects throughout the world that need somebody who is has an expert with scheduling and construction management. So I encourage anybody to just look. All it takes, all it it's literally a 5 minute search on the website just to see kind of what upcoming projects are. And if you feel called to serve, fill in a profile, create a profile. You don't even have to say yes. It's one of those just, it really kind of led me to these four journeys. And it also kind of taught me a lot technically too, because some of the things that we were doing on the design, I was like, I haven't learned that, I haven't touched any of this since I was in school some 20 years ago. So it's university, that is some 20 years ago. So it was technically challenging, but also spiritually fulfilling as well. And I just wanted to end the presentation off with Isaiah 6:8. I heard the Lord's voice saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Then I said, "Here I am, send me." With that said, thank you for everyone's attention. Hopefully, I didn't blabber on too much. And yeah, I'll open up to questions for anybody.
Thank you so much, Simon. That was amazing. I loved all the pictures and everything. Just such an incredible story. Yeah, if anyone has a question, you can feel free to just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Just give it a couple minutes here if anyone's thinking of anything.
I just wanted to say thanks for that presentation. That was no, you didn't bore us at all. That's you're an expert storyteller. Like I think how you
Thank you.
how you brought it all back together. I'm not an engineer. I'm not in the world, but I could really relate. And you spoke to both the spiritual and the technical. So yeah, I really just want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing all that. It touched hearts. I can definitely confirm that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's still touching me today. I mean, I'm still technically not finished my deliverables for EMI, so it's still kind of an active project, if you will, but it certainly changed me in many ways, for the better.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel the same. I'm not an engineer either or anything, but just kind of that following of God's calling for you is just really, really special. So yeah, thank you, like Ike said, for being so vulnerable too and opening up about your story. Where I have a question. I'm kind of curious
Sure.
if is there somewhere that you'd like to go on an EMI trip if something were to come up and like is there somewhere that would really catch your interest?
Um, Good question. I was born in Hong Kong, so I mean, I moved to Calgary when I was 5 years old. So I fully westernized and whatnot, but there is a part of me that does still have a heart for Asia. And a lot of the infrastructure there is um, challenging. And I mean, with the I guess amount of people there, it also makes the capacities, especially me as a civil guy, pipes and
Mhm.
all those things being much more challenging. And actually,
Mhm.
that reminds me of a trip I went to when I a trip to Thailand that I went on, 15 years ago. I remember, again, I'm a civil guy, I'm a geek and nerd at heart. Anytime it rained, I was thinking, this water doesn't go anywhere. There's no drainage. And we were in Bangkok, Thailand, which is perfectly flat. There's zero terrain in there. And the water basically had nowhere to go because there's no slope, there's no pipes, there's no infrastructure. And Bangkok is, I think, their largest city in the country. So there's so many places that are in the relatively developed world that still isn't meeting, I don't want to say meeting, but it still is um, not the ideal standards, whether it's
Mm.
stormwater related, drainage related, or even potable water related. Like Canada has amazing clean water. And actually, here at DR, I was the only one who did not get sick. Everyone else had some sort of a stomach bug from water, food. So water quality and treatment is definitely subpar in many parts of the world, um, and probably even in Canada as well. So there's not necessarily the big cities, but like the kind of rural First Nations areas. So there's I know EMI does a lot of work with First Nations in Canada as well. So, there's so many opportunities to go and serve on these trips, especially if you come from a technical background, to be able to improve the the life and quality of life for many people.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Mhm. So yeah, Asia, I guess. Long answer short. I
No,
would love
that's
to.
great. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Just wanted to see. Um, You know what? I actually have another question. This is something I was thinking during the presentation. You're talking about making the building and the area more accessible. It was
Mhm.
there all those stairs. Was there sort
Mhm.
of an idea that people had for how to make that more accessible? Is that sort of on their radar, or what was sort of the plan with that?
So it was one of those, we aren't going to make anything worse, but to improve everything to the point that it's considered um, ADA, I'm sorry, Disability Association standards.
Mm.
It's never going to happen unless you tear everything apart. And even then, I don't think there's going to be enough real estate for us to be able to make that. So in this middle plan here, you can see some of the blue layering at the top left. Those are
Mhm.
the slopes of the existing switchback paths. And I was quite proud of myself on how I figured that out. See if I can find a picture here. Um, bear with me. As an engineer, I found a level, measured exactly a meter in length, and wherever, because like you're basically matching the bottom ledge of this to the bottom ledge here, whatever the height is in metric is the slope. So at this point, it's 11%, 0.11 meters.
Mm.
So I was able to identify the entire slope of the existing path and the, I mean, 11 one actually was pretty good, but the majority of it was no less than 15%. Like I said earlier, some are in the order of like 40% slope.
Yeah.
Um, to give perspective, ADA is 8% for no more than 9 meters, and then you have to have a flat landing. Then you have another
Mm.
9 meter length of 8%. So like even the 11% that I showed in the other picture is already well past the standards. So arbitrarily, we basically said if we're going to provide some sort of wheelchair accessible path, we, unless you redo the entire camp, we're going to find a number that works. So we said, okay, everything else kind of hits no less than 15%. So we're going to make any accessible paths at 15%. So schematically, which is this kind of aerial photo image here, I was able to run a pathway at 15%. And then if we jump to the top right there, it's kind of hard to look, kind of hard to see, but the red kind of meandering path that goes up to the
Mm.
upper stadium, that's the switchback path. And then it connects to the lower switchback path. And I don't even know how somebody came up with the idea. Hey, oh, it was the Young Life camp lead. His, I think, 13-year-old son came and said, hey, this would be a great location to put a lookout. And we all said, wow, thank you. So we put this gazebo in, and I still had another like 40 stairs to make it work, but I was able to connect the switchback paths to make it accessible again at 15%. And we're able to utilize a space that would have otherwise just been wasted because all the trees had to come down anyway for grading. So it was one of those, if David, the son, didn't come with that ingenious idea, we would have just kind of left it blank. So yeah, you'd be surprised at where good information comes from.
That is so cool. I love that.
Mhm.
I'll open up the floor again for any other questions here.
What do you still have to deliver, and how long is that gonna continue your project here?
Sure. Great question. So we've delivered, I'd say, a 99% complete report to discuss all the servicing challenges, all the grading challenges, at least from a civil perspective. There's high level costing in there. And we're going to finalize the report once we have the drawing package complete. But so the idea with the report is we give Young Life a complete report with costing, and they then bring this to prayer and also bring it to fundraising. And if it's his will for these facilities to come, they will fundraise, much like that photo of the food hall that I showed somewhere earlier, this guy in the middle. Very beautiful building. Um, and from as a stormwater civil engineer, I love how all their downspouts are these little cups in that picture on the top right there. There are these little cups, and they're visually really unique, but they actually land in a rock pit, which is actually a infiltration pit. It cleans the water as well as actually slows down the flow rate. If you want to get into technical terminology, but it basically treats the roof, the stormwater that runs off the roof. So it's really unique. I commend the civil engineer who came up with that idea. So I'm kind of stealing his ideas and implementing it for our building as well. Um, but yeah, to answer your question there, Gil, the report is more or less complete. However, the site plan, the one that I was showing the 3D rendering of, that was only delivered us early last week. So we still have to bring all those in and produce a set of drawings, like engineering drawings, for um, every deliverable for I guess a facility or yeah, facility. They need essentially two things. They need a report complete with costs, and they also need a set of drawings. Because the purpose of that is they can bring the set of drawings to architectural and engineering drawings to a contractor to be able to bid on and get actual numbers, and then be able to kind of take the next steps to fundraise and construct from there. So I would probably say realistically, I have to get everything, at least the engineering drawings, my engineering drawings done by probably the end of the month here, before the end of June. So it's been a 2 month process because we left Calgary April 20, I said it earlier, I think 24th or 26th.
Thanks for that question.
Mhm.
All right, we've just got about a minute or so left here. I saw that Julia put a question in the chat here, just wondering about not being a civil engineer, but still being able to volunteer on a trip potentially. And I told Julia just to reach out to me. I put my email there in the chat. But like Simon said, not just civil, it's just design professionals, engineers of all types, architects, project managers, even interior designers, all sorts of areas of design professionals are who we are looking for to come on these trips. So, if you have a question or anything, please feel free to email me and I will put you in touch with the right person, whether that's Greg, our executive director, Ryan, our international projects trip director, or our manager, or Andrea for our domestic trip. So, we have a spot for you no matter what. So, don't hesitate to reach out.
I was trying to look on my side screen here. This was the list
Amazing.
that I've seen before, and Gil, photographer, videographer, um, and everybody in between. So there's so many opportunities. Many of them are somewhat technically, I guess, focused, but like Stephanie said, I'm sure there's opportunities for you to serve in any which way.
Yeah, Gil, I'll go ahead and send you that link there as well.
Hmm.
Let me just grab that here.
Perfect. Thank you. I couldn't find that page.
Oh, of course, no problem. Let's see if I can grab it here. I'm sure everyone would appreciate that there. Well, the trick is, can I find it on the website?
How did I get to it? I went to volunteers.
Yeah,
Uh,
amazing. Yeah.
where was it?
And the
Upcoming trips.
photographer one too, if you don't mind.
I'll just send you the volunteer page here. Let me see here. And then on the volunteer page, you
Yeah,
can
perfect.
indicate your interests.
Mhm.
Of
Thanks.
course, thank you so much. I'm so glad that that was able to catch your interest a little bit there. We're always looking for high quality photo and video too, from international and domestic. Maybe if international isn't feasible for you to travel or the time commitment, but doing a domestic one is better for you, that's also great if you're here in Canada. So. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Simon, so much for sharing. That was really, really informative and just a beautiful presentation about just God's plans for our life and just different journeys that we can take. So I really appreciate you sharing.
Thank you, everyone, for joining and for the amazing questions as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll be sure to send out this recording. And like I said, just don't hesitate to email or reach out if you have any other questions about anything. And now we can all go cheer for Canada.
Yes, soccer game started a minute ago.
Here we go. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you
Have a
very
beautiful
much.
rest of your day.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.